Hey, yo, what's up to everybody out there? Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable Talk. I am your host, C Money, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about Lord. Let's talk about this. You know, if you haven't seen the news or if you haven't saw social media, we are at war with Iran. And I can say right now that this is going crazy. It's got the internet buzzing. It's got social media buzzing. You know, you hear about it every day on the news. You got a lot of this going on. And if you didn't know, I kind of knew it was coming when I saw that President Trump was attacking these drug cartels and trafficking and these boats, these smuggling boats and stuff that was coming in from other countries and stuff, and he was attacking these boats and stuff like that. I knew it was coming. And now we at a war with Iran, and it's a lot going on. You know, they got people stuck in Iran that they trying to get back home to the United States, and they got this thing going on. And I'm like, you know what? What is going on? It's like ever since this man got into office, we have been at war in our own backyards, and we have been in war with several other countries. I kind of get some. I kind of get some of what he's doing, like with what he's doing with Cuba. You know, he's stopping, a lot of the stuff going on with Cuba, and he's stopping things, and a lot of the Congress and politicians, they're trying to stop a lot of things because they want, you know, things to be better between them and Cuba. And then I get some of the things that he's doing because he feel like what other countries are doing is wrong, and he's trying to make it to where, hey, let's stop this, let's stop that, until we can fix this country, or until we can fix what's going on in Cuba, until we can fix this over here, we're gonna do this, that's gonna make them pull in the red flag and the white towel, throw in the white towel and say, hey, okay, we surrender. But at the same time, look what you're doing. Gas prices are going up now, and people are going outraged because now it's going to be a shortage of gas, and now the gas company is going to have to price, hike up the gas, because now you're destroying gas tankers and boats and oil producers, and you're destroying a lot of this stuff. So now it's going to be hurtful, just like in Cuba. Now you're destroying a lot of you're not supplying, you're destroying a lot of the suppliers to Cuba, and you're stopping a lot of suppliers to go to Cuba, and now Cuba is over there hurting. And then now you're stopping the suppliers from coming over here because you're at war with Iran, where a percentage of our oil comes from. And now it gets to the point to where gas prices got to go up because now gas is crucial, and and stuff like that, and people are outraged and furious. And what next? The food price is going to go up because we get a lot of our products and out of our food products from overseas too. We get our fruits and vegetables, sometimes from other countries and stuff. Yeah, we got fruit and vegetable farms here in South Florida or in other cities. You get um Florida is the sunshine state. We got orange juice and stuff like that. Georgia is peaches. California raisins and a lot of this other stuff. But still, we get a lot of our produce, from other countries. We do get produce and fruits and vegetables here in, grown in the United States. But you get the exotic produce and stuff like that. You get that from other countries and stuff. And now, you're gonna, it's going to hurt a lot of businesses. Business has been hurting ever since this man got into office. Because remember, I did a video a while back about ISIS and how ISIS is going into these restaurants and taking workers from restaurants and taking workers from businesses, and then all of these businesses, they employ immigrants, and not only immigrants, they employ people who are from other countries, and ISIS is coming in, taking them and stuff like that. And then I seen on the news just a few days ago where ISIS went inside of a housing complex for a college, and they went into somebody's apartment, trying to take some immigrant and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, y'all doing too much. If you see that this person is in college at a school, in college, trying to get a degree to better themselves, Why are you taking them away? It's not like they doing illegal activity. It's not like I see if they out here stealing and robbing and killing people, and then they're here illegally. Yeah, deport they behind back. But if I'm in college and I'm from another country and my visa expired or something like that, and you see that I got good grades and I'm trying to make something of myself, try to help this person get somewhere. Try to help this person, you know, better themselves. Say, hey, I know you're here at college, so we're gonna help you get a temporary visa or temporary card, green card or something, to where you can finish college or whatever. And then if you want to continue, you have to apply to get, you know, citizen status here in America and stuff like that. Don't come in there and say, oh yeah, you're here at college, but we're gonna take you away, you know, and stuff like that. And you know, that's why I say we're at war, not only in other countries, but we're at war in our own backyard because every day we're fighting. Right now, a lot of people are fighting because we don't have services. You know, they cutting food stamps off. A lot of the government assistance is getting cut. A lot of these programs are getting cut. A lot of schools are getting cut. A lot of things. I'm doing a video about that in the upcoming days because there's a video I want to do with something that's very near and dear to me. And I've been wanting to do it, but I couldn't do it. But a lot of stuff is getting cut to where we're at war out there with other countries, and we're also at war here in our own backyard. And I'm like, dude, we need to stop this because what are we setting the future for our younger generation? A lot of these younger kids, because look at what's going on right now. And I've seen it on the news and I've seen it in a lot of things. A lot of the younger people now, it's more crime and more violent now than it was back then. Back then, we didn't have 15 and 16-year-olds out here robbing and killing and shooting. They was out there, but it wasn't as bad as it is now. Every day you see a young teen getting shot at, or you see a young person getting killed over, regardless if they are in the middle of the fight or they just an innocent bystander that was in the area and they just got shot, got hit by a stray bullet. And I look at it as if this is getting out of hand to where you can't control what's going on in your own backyard, but you want to try to control what's going on overseas, you know, and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, it's already a bad economy. Food prices are going up. The cost of living is going up. Rent's going up. Gas prices going up. Water going up. Electricity going up. A lot of this stuff is going up. And you don't want to seem to help with that and lower the costs of a lot of these, you know, of what's going on. You're more worried about the government. The government. You're more worried about, you know, this and that and politics. You know, now they got a new, you know, overseer in Iran, and they got a new this person and new that person. You want to take it's like you want control of the world. It's like, oh, they're doing bad over there, so we're gonna attack them until they get it right and find somebody who agrees with us. And the same thing over here and the same thing over there. Dude, not every country is not gonna get along with each other. We are not going to get along. It's like saying I'm me, but everybody in the whole United States, you know, just like this channel. I know I'm going to have some people that is not going to agree with my views. I know I'm going to have some people that's going to have either positive views or negative views on the things I say on my channel. Not everybody's going to like me. Not everybody's going to like what I say. But I'm not going to sit up here and say, please, I need everybody to like me. Please, I need everybody to agree with what I'm saying. No, because this is a YouTube-based channel show. So what I talk about, the topics that I talk about on my show, not everybody's going to agree with me. And that's understandable because not everybody's going to like me. Not everybody's going to agree with me. Not everybody's going to, you know, go forward with what I'm saying. Not everybody's going to like the topics, you know, and I feel like that's what the government is doing. Hey, we need Cuba to like us. We need Iran to like us. We need Russia to like us. We need England to like us. We need Jamaica and Haiti to like us. We need this country to like us. We want every country to like the United States. You know, every country is going to have at least one country that's not 1% down with them. That's like saying here in Miami, you know, I live in Opelika. Even though I don't live in Opelika, but this is like I'm saying, I live in Opelika, but I want Miami Gardens to like me. But or I want, Hialeah to like me, or I want them, they may say, hey, we're here, but we don't like you because you don't like the things you're doing, you know. Just like you going to work and you say, I don't like this person because of what they're doing, but I respect them. You're not going to like everybody you work with because there's always that job, there's always a company or a job that people go into, and there's always going to be somebody that doesn't get along with somebody. And the government make it seem like they want everybody to get along with the United States, and that can't happen. There are going to be countries out there that may not get along with what we're doing here in the United States. They may, say, "Oh, I don't like their policies," or "I don't like what they're doing over here," or "I don't like their rules and regulations." But you can't force them to like you. And by you going to war, it's like, hey, I want you to go to war and like me and things like that. You know. And I'm like, dude, you got to make it realize that you are not this type of um government where you can try to force people to like you. Now you're trying to surrender and make people, by you attacking these people because I can't tell you what's really going on with the war at Iran. I know that it's a lot going on, and now they're trying to get a lot of the Americans out of Iran, and they're trying to secretly get them out. And then I seen a story where it's costing a lady $1,200 just to get from one part of the Iran to another part so she can hop on a flight back to America. And I'm like, dude, what is it that you want with these countries that you want them to do, or what is it that you want to happen with these countries? I know they say they had they got new leadership in Iran and stuff like that because I'm guessing the former leadership, something went down or whatever. But at the same time, I'm like, what is it that you're trying to get out of this? You're making it worse for your American citizens because now gas prices are going up, and then by you continue to fight, and then now a lot of people are running scared because I seen one person on one of my social media page posted saying, let me know what's going on in Iran before I pay my bills, because now we're trying to figure out, is Iran going to attack us in the United States? Even though the United States is a big place, but hey, is Iran going to attack us in the United States? We haven't been in a war like this in a long time. And who's to say that they're gonna start retaliating on us and come over here and attack us and stuff like that? And you're not thinking about what's gonna happen to my American citizens. Trump has houses everywhere. He has a house here in Mar-a-Lago in the West Palm Beach County area, and I seen a post somebody post, and it was a funny post that they say, just in case you want to attack Florida, this is where he lived, and they circled the area where he stayed at. And I'm like, you know what, I see it as if I get what the government is doing. They're trying to make you know, a better place for everybody in the world. But you got to realize you can't try to change everything and make everything right. We are going to be at war for years, regardless of what it is. We are going to be at war with cost of living, poverty, food, homelessness, crime, violence, world issues, different countries at war with each other, things like that. Cuba, crisis, the Cuban crisis, the Haiti crisis. We're going to be at war until the day we are put into 6 feet under, because there is going to be war everywhere. We got war in our own backyards with kids killing each other just for $2. We got war down the street where accidents happening, police brutality, hate crimes, and things like that. Police killing our black people over a candy bar. We're going to be at war. And I always say this, before you start a war outside of this country, fix the war that's inside of your country. Fix the poverty in America. Fix the homelessness in America. Fix the cost of living in America. Fix the food crisis in America. Fix the crime in America. Fix a lot of this stuff that's going on in America. Go around and try to fix what's in your own backyard before you go and fix something in another country, because we are hurting here. I see how many kids be out here, can I get something to eat? And I look at it as if this is sad. that you got kids out here begging for food. You got kids out here, trying to make a couple of dollars and things like that because they feel as if it's the best thing to do because they living in poverty. Parents out here trying to struggling. I see food stamps now. They changing food stamps to where you had to be a parent with kids to actually get food stamps. If you're a single guy or a single lady and you working and stuff like that, they're gonna look at you and say, "Hey, you can't get no food stamps. You got a job. Even though you only making $500 a paycheck and your bill and your rent is $1,000 a month, hey, you still making money. You don't need food stamps. And I'm like, what is the situation? What's going on? Like us working people can't get food stamps. We make money to pay our bills. We make money to keep a roof over our head so we won't be sleeping outside. But at the same time, you're not helping us get what we need to stay alive. Yeah, you got food banks and these food distribution areas and drive through food banks and these food distribution areas and stuff like that. But then at the same time, I look at it as if that's not enough, you know. And the fact that we are at war with several countries and we're out there doing all of this stuff, you're stopping drug trafficking, just like a lot of these criminals. What a lot of these criminals, they can't get jobs because a lot of these jobs are not. You need to pass a law that says, yes, do a background check on these criminals, but make sure we need a program that or a law that you can hire criminals, and depending on what criminality, because a lot of these jobs they won't hire criminals, because of their background. And a lot of these people who were criminals, they got their life straight and they went, and they got their straight life. They went to college or they went here and they went there and now they're on the straight path and they trying to do right by doing this and that. And these jobs say, oh, you was a felon. Oh, you was a felon. Oh, we can't hire you. But they got to result in going out there to sell drugs or going out there to the street hustle because no corporate business or no restaurant or no other place are hiring them because they got a rap sheet. And I'm like, dude, these people out here trying to make a living. Yes, as a teenager and as a early adult in their teens and 20s and stuff, yes, they did wrong and they did crimes and stuff. But when you get in your 30s and 40s and 50s, you realize, hey, I need to settle down and make some money and do some things and have some changes. Why you think you see a lot of these older people now, they're in college? Back then, it was when you turned 18, you went off to college. Now, people don't just automatically go off to college. I didn't go to college until I was in my 30s. I went to college in my 20s as well, and I also went to college in my 30s, and I was like, hey, not everybody is ready for college straight out of high school. Because, a lot of these people, if you're like me, you're like, oh, I don't like going to school. Then when school is over and you graduate, ooh, I'm out of school. Yes. You're not ready for college because college is a little bit worse than high school. The term papers and essays and homework assignments and all that, that's a little bit worse because I've been in the college and, ooh, Lord, and I still got some of my college papers and I look at my college papers and I'm like, ooh, baby. And as you know, I was in college because I did an episode of one of my episodes inside of college with one of my classmates. But I'm like, ooh, yes, college was a lot. I done been to like 3 institutions. I done been and stuff like that. But oh yes, this is crazy. And you have to realize something that a lot of these people they try to take on life experience. They go out there and they get a job and they do a lot of these things and stuff like that. And not only that, you have to realize it's hard for people out here. People that work, let's say for instance, you work at Burger King or McDonald's and you work as a cook there. You flip the burgers, you make the food and stuff like that. They only pay you $13-14 an hour. And that's the average what a person makes at McDonald's. And you realize that rent now, a lot of these rental properties are $1,000 and up. By you making 14 an hour, let's do this. We're gonna go and do this. So 14. So you work 6 hours a day. 6 times 5 is 30 hours a day. 14 times 30 is $420. Times 2 is $840, which is every 2 weeks. Times 4, 840 times 4 gives you, okay, let's do it like this. 14 times 30. 420 times 4 is $1,680, which is 1680. That's enough. Minus your rent, which is $1,000. You now have 680. Minus your cell phone bill, which is probably $50, which is $630. Minus, now you have 630. So what is it with that 630 you can do? Let's say you spend $200 on groceries. That leaves you with 430. Now, if you have a car or vehicle, you have to pay car insurance and car note. Now, depending if you don't pay car note and you just pay car insurance, that's another $100 maybe out of it. So minus $100. You now have $330. Now, let's say you have to pay for water. That's about $80. Okay, you still haven't paid your light bill, which is another $80. That leaves you with $170. Now, I'm just doing an estimate of $80, for like a one-bedroom apartment or so. But I know if you have kids and stuff, it's going to be a little bit more. But you're not going to have enough money for cushion money. So how is it that you're out here trying to make amends and trying to better with other countries when we're at war back here in our own backyard with people struggling for poverty? I see people all the time, where their kids, are hungry and they got to go to buy them, Dollar Tree is the new grocery store. A lot of us can't afford to go inside Publix. Even a lot of us can't even afford to go inside Winn-Dixie. And Winn-Dixie is cheaper than Publix. And not only that, a lot of us can't even afford to go to Walmart. And Walmart is cheaper than Winn-Dixie and Publix. And the same thing with Aldi. Aldi is supposed to be a small store with cheaper prices. And yes, some of the stuff I've seen in Aldi's is cheap because I did go to Aldi's. I did an episode of a new shopping place downtown that has an Aldi's. And I did go into Aldi's afterwards. But at the same time, I look at it as if we need to stop with this war stuff. We need to stop creating wars for places overseas. We need to stop creating these, wars with these other countries and stuff until we get whatever we have. That saying always, you can't fix somebody else's life or be in somebody else's life when your own life is messed up. That saying where they say, oh, you can't, stop meddling to everybody else's own life when your own life is jacked up and stuff like that. Or how they be saying, oh, you picking on this person and putting them down because your own life is messed up and you want to put somebody else down. It's just like that saying. You're out here trying to fix and control other countries and stuff when your own country is in a crisis. We're in a homeless crisis. We're in a poverty crisis. We're in a cost of living crisis. We're in a gun violence crisis. We're in, a lot of these situations, kids out here homeless. You got homeless kids, homeless families, people that's working that can't even pay their bills, that have to eat salt and sand for food, and their bills only enough to pay to keep the roof over their head. They got to go to these food banks and try to ration out food for the rest of the week for their kids and stuff. A lot of these people, it's crazy. It's crazy out here, and we are at war. And I'm not saying not just on war on other countries. We are at war in our own backyards. We are at war in New York, in Florida, in California, in Texas, and North and South Dakota, North and South Carolinas, New Mexico, Chicago, Miami, Indianapolis, Texas, We are here, Washington, Mississippi, Alabama, New Orleans, Louisiana. We're out here at war. You see these people walking around here. Yeah, you see social media. Everybody's out here happy and stuff. But what is it when they come behind, when they close behind closed doors? A lot of these people put on fronts. Like you don't know my personal life. I could be out here scraping for pennies in my personal life. You don't know, but because I never exposed myself. Not saying that I'm doing that, but I'm just saying in general. You see people on social media and you walk around and say they look happy, they look nice, they look okay, they out here, at a nice restaurant and stuff. But behind closed doors, they probably got bigger problems. They probably got bills piling up and stuff like that because they don't want to appear to be looking at them. You gotta know that a lot of these people, just because they walk around looking happy, they ain't happy. Remember, I talked about this probably in several of my episodes, and I've talked about this how you go in these restaurants and you go into these stores and these businesses, and there's somebody greeting you. Hi, welcome to Cheesecake Factory. Hi, welcome to Walmart. Hi, welcome to Target, and things like that. But in the back of their mind, they're like, damn, my rent due tomorrow. I need to find out, can I get an extension on my rent? Or my cell phone due. Let me call the cell phone company and see if I can get an extension until I get paid on Friday. And, oh, man, I hate that manager. And, it's a lot going on in their mind. But in reality, hi, welcome to Walmart. How are you doing? Hi, welcome to Target. How may I help you? Hi, welcome to Chili's. Let me sit you down. But in the back of their mind, they got so many problems going on, and they trying to figure out what the problems they do. But they come in there with fake mind settings, meaning they come in there with fake attitudes. Because a lot of us do it. And I'm not saying that trying to call out businesses, but a lot of us do it. We go to work. Because I've seen this, and I've seen this at several companies where they say leave the negative attitude at the door. But sometimes that negative attitude be what's going on behind at that job. You may be making good pay, or you may be at a job where you're making decent money, but the positive mind setting is not there. You may have managers or coworkers or people at their job that is making your job uncomfortable. Because I tell the people all the time, it may not be the company. Like McDonald's may be a great place to work at, but it's the people that you employ at McDonald's that makes it shitty, that makes it uncomfortable, that makes it horrible to work at, And a lot of these businesses, and I look at it as if, what are we doing to help ourselves? And the government is not helping us, And I've said this before, and I've said this to a few of my coworkers and to friends and stuff like that. I say, corporate is not coming to see the main person. Corporate, when they come to these businesses, they're going to come see the regional manager and the store manager. You're never going to see the corporate manager, the corporate of McDonald's come and they're going to speak to the cashier that works the front counter at McDonald's. You're never going to call the corporate and go and speak to the person that operates the drive-thru. You're never going to see corporate that comes and come see the person that's flipping the burger in the back. They're going to come with the corporate bid, with the regional manager. Oh, the regional manager's going to call the store manager. Hey, McDonald's is coming. So get ready. And then they're going to go and sit and have a conversation. But they're not going to say, how you doing? You're the lady that works the front counter. Your name is Tiffany. Hi, let me see you work. And how are you doing? They're not going to do that. And it's the same thing with government. The government is not going to go into Liberty City or Overtown. They're not going to go into Queens or Brooklyn. And they're not going to walk the streets and say, hey, you live in this place? Let's see if we can get you some better housing. Hey, this is the place that you live in and it looks like that? Or how much you pay rent in a month, and you pay $1,000 to live in this and the ceiling is falling? Hey, let's go to the rental office and let's do something about it. They're not going to do that. So what do you think about this? Do you think that we need to better ourselves and we need to conquer the war in our own backyards before we conquer the war out there? Or do you agree with President Trump's decision to go at war with different countries right now, or do you disagree? Do you agree that he needs to tackle the war in our own backyards, meaning the things that are going on here, before he tackle anything out there? What do you think? Let me know. Comment at the bottom of this page. Also email us at our new email, roundtable305@yahoo.com, and let us know how you feel about this, because I feel we need a lot more work done here in our own backyard before we go out there and tackle other places. Let me know. Comment at the bottom of the page. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching this episode. Let me know about this episode. As always, stay safe, stay blessed, stay hydrated, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care.